Hello, beautiful people. Thanks for stopping by my channel for some book reviews. I have a lot of books, but what I'm going to do is give you my top two that I read, because all the books I read, one of them I did have to DNF, but I think it might be for some other people. Others were really worth reading, but they're kind of that 3 to low 4-star range. But I had two that I really enjoyed, so I want to start with those. If you are looking for a summer read, just something fun, something more lighthearted, something that's going to make you laugh, if you're willing to take that little step of just suspending your disbelief just a little bit, let me scoot over because I'll put a picture up here. The Borrowed Life of Frederick, Fife. It was a fun-loving, little, cute account of a gentleman who has loved on his wife, been an outstanding husband, seen her through cancer, but the cost of it basically went through their life savings, and he's facing eviction, and he's still got a good attitude, and he's walking down to the park by the city river and just kind of thinking about where he might sleep if he loses his apartment and all these kind of life things. And he sees another gentleman in a wheelchair that has a heart attack and passes, and he's trying to get help. And basically this man, this is my reader, Tilly, she helps me. Yes, actually, she makes it difficult to read most of the time because she thinks it would be better to spend time with the puppy than it would be to read a book. But when she's finally worn out, she does like to sit with me and read. But she has the same opinions I do, so it's very helpful. So he has trouble with the wheelchair. There is a struggle. The man body goes into the river along with his ID that he was his Frederick's ID, and Frederick's trying to get help. He's trying to tell people, look, this has gone down. But the thing is, Burnett, who was the man who fell into the river, had dementia. So they do not believe Fred, who looks very similar. They're thinking that he's just kind of lost his mental status at the moment and needs to be taken care of. So finally, he just starts kind of giving up trying to tell people that this has been a mistake, because he's got housing and he's got food and he's got this mystery of trying to figure out who this man is. And then he actually goes so far as to realize this man was kind of grouchy and crotchety and had broken a lot of relationships, including family that he hadn't seen in a long time. So they don't really know that this is not their relative or their friend or their co-worker or whatever. So they go on this journey of him actually kind of healing relationships, restoring things. And it's funny because we, the reader, of course, know that he's really someone else trying to get by and do the right thing, but he's getting sucked into all these other things. And it's just comical, but also poignant and meaningful. And this was maybe one of my favorite reads. However, I have to say, out of the other ones, the classic was really worthwhile. Several people have mentioned it to me as a good read. A Thousand Splendid Suns, Khaled Hosseini. And this is the same author who wrote The Kite Runner, which was made into a beautiful movie. I'm not sure if this one's a movie or not, but it journeys around the women, about their arranged marriages, what that's like, how do they seek meaning, what happens when they're in a bad situation, married too young, married to the wrong abusive man, what are the implications that happen when you protest or try to resist these things that are done to you. And you get a little bit of history, a little bit of just ongoing caste system, a little bit of historical fiction wrapped into a very gripping, at times harrowing story and account. And there's some poetry that centers around the Thousand Splendid Suns that is very beautiful and well written. So highly recommend this when you're ready for a not light-hearted read, but you're ready for something really well written that will grip you and maybe even educate you a little. Love that. Next down the line, I had some books that were quite enjoyable as well, but maybe not on that same level. This Cause for Alarm that I picked up at a library sale, Cate, Conte. This is a little cozy mystery. It does have cats. There is like a bed and breakfast that has cats, and they also do some restaurant dining and catering, and they're struggling, and a mysterious lady comes along to offer a fundraiser, and there's a death, murder, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And it's just, for the sake of a mystery, it is the cozy mystery. So when you're looking for a good cozy mystery, I actually really enjoyed this, more so than I do most cozy mysteries. So I'll recommend that one. I also am continuing in the Apothecary Diaries. Really, really enjoying this series. I think it's 4 and 5 I read. I read 4 and 5. So I won't go into the details of that. You can see previous reviews. I will link it. My DNF for it is on me because it was the Danube, Claudio Magris. And this is, I know this is well written. I only got a couple chapters in. It traces the river, but I just don't know that history and that culture and those artists and those authors of that area, and the beautifulness of this writing, of this nonfiction book. It's every point of the river as you're traveling down it, the author goes into, hold on a moment. The author goes into, at this site, this happened in the past, or this famous author wrote along here, or this part of this poem was inspired by this. But the fact that I didn't know those things made it difficult, and I spent more time in my head feeling bad or guilty or caught up in that to really focus on it. So I decided to DNF it. I may hold on to this until a later date when maybe I know those things. Am I boring you? Am I boring you? She was pulling out all my brushes and trying to disturb my makeup. She's a diva dog. She's a diva dog. She wants some makeup too. Next up, Ann Patchett's Bel Canto. Very atmospheric, very creepy. Another kind of mystery where there is hostages taken and they're trying to get a president, but it goes wrong. There is a famous operatic singer. There is a party that's being held hostage. And it reminded me a lot of Frederick Beckman's Anxious People, but that I didn't care for that book either. So this was good. It was interesting. I'm glad I read it, but it's really a 3-star for me, but it may be higher for somebody else, particularly if you love the writing of Ann Patchett. I did really enjoy The Dutch House. Emily Giffin, The Lie That Binds. I wanted to read this because it does have to do with 9/11. This is the year, the 25th anniversary. It is basically a woman who starts a relationship with a man who basically perishes in 9/11, and then we find out all these things that maybe weren't true and goes down the creepy trail, all those kind of goodness. It was interesting. It was fine. I give it 3 stars. Again, glad I read it. We'll be putting it in a little free library. Wouldn't read it again, especially now that I know the end. I also read Neil Shusterman's Dry. I love his writing, very dystopian. This is an account of LA if water just ran out and what would happen. And it was only 6 days long that it follows, because you're going to be in serious crisis if you're without water for 6 days, as these people were. And it gives you kind of nightmares. So just reading it, I drank a lot of water when I was reading it because it's very, troubling and psychological. But having said that, I don't think it was one of my favorites of his. This is probably my least favorite so far that I've read by him. But again, very worth reading. Really 4-star because I really enjoy his being in his head and his writing. And y'all, I did read Verity by Colleen Hoover. So I had read one other Colleen Hoover. I'll have to look up the title and put it down here, which the one I read was fine. It was okay. But I wanted to read this one because I've heard it's different. It has a big plot twist at the end. It's more like mystery related. So this beautiful edition was at Walmart. I said I will pick it up and read it. And I did. And I mean, 3-star. It's okay. This author is not for me, but I appreciate that I read it. I appreciate that I now know the story, so I'm kind of caught up when other people are talking about it. I didn't find the plot twist quite as amazing as some people did, but I appreciated it. It was fun trying to guess what it was, and I wasn't too far off in my guess. I also read number 16, Miss Kobashia's Dragon Maid. Oh, I'm showing the back instead of the front because it is the manga. I really enjoyed this storyline. This one was a dragon tournament, which I really do like daily life and kind of prefer daily life followings in a lot of it, but it was fun to do something different. And I've also been pursuing a lot more of the fantasy, including the last one, which is the Brandon Sanderson's Calamity. This is also a third in what was a trilogy, but I think he did write one more in this storyline after this. So it's basically the weird Calamity star son gives supernatural powers to some humans that then are somehow either corrupted by it or have to fight against it to retain their humanity. There are reckoners that fight against this. If that sounds good, go back. The first one, Steelheart. So there you have it. Those are the books that I read in the past month. Hope that you are having a great summer. If you've read any of these, want to leave me a comment below, that would be awesome. If you want to read any of them, even better, leave me a comment. Say bye-bye, Tilly. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.